When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. Septum Sin versus the world. 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 I'd buy that for $1.
Welcome, listeners of the great and the entertaining. Here we are again to fill your heads with the madness that we usually run around and sing as I don't know what we're doing at the moment.
Clearly.
But I know by the jug of vodka at my side and the cat jumping around on the table, it's time for the Vlogcast.
Good to know.
This is Septum Sin. I'm here with Kotobuki Jake, and we have a go. So, of course, starting our stuff with the YouTube update, we've talked around a little bit more to try and make this move a little bit more smoothly than last week. I have 2 things upcoming for the channel. You said that you didn't have anything upcoming at the moment.
Nothing major.
I have an upcoming review, which is not upcoming anymore because this is Friday and it came up Thursday, which is the Out and About movie review. If you haven't checked it out, you need to first start with the pickups. It's an epic pickup anyway. And then move on to the review. It's going to be awesome. And of course, finally, upcoming next week, we will be starting our NIS series, where we talk about all of the NIS sets. I will be showing off all of my sets, and he'll be showing off all the sets that he has of the ones that he has watched. And we're going to be putting a rating to each of these series. And the idea is, by the end of it all, we're going to hopefully look at it and say, I don't know why they stopped doing anime. All the majority of series they did were really good, or I could see why. It's not a lot of great series there. So, with that being said, I guess we can move on to Kotobuki Jake's ongoing viewing corner.
Well, not really any ongoing at the moment. I am between several series. There is a little bit of ongoing reading insofar as my library finally got several series of manga that I have been following, and I am slowly but surely being able to pick up new volumes. So I did continue with Black Butler this past week, and it's getting
good series.
Shit's getting crazy. Yes, it is.
I do not have time for the reading. That's one thing I admit. I have a... I guess if I put down the viewing, I could do the reading. So I guess we'll move on to release news. I have a few, and you said you have a few as well.
Yeah, a couple.
Well, we'll just do one at a time, back and forth, till we're done. Food Wars, finally, they've announced the 3rd plate after it's been out for almost a year. Excuse me, after the 4th plate is started. They finally are releasing the 3rd plate, and the set looks glorious. It is another one of those wonderful sets. It's going to set me back a fortune, but it's okay because I love the Food Wars special edition sets. I mean, you've seen these things.
Yeah.
We even did unboxings. They are monsters. But they are wonderful. I think they are going to stop at 4 seasons, so it'll kind of look nice where it is right there. Maybe I'll put my Star vs. the Forces of Evil pops, like have a couple of them flanking on top. Yeah, maybe that's going to be the way it's going to look. It's going to be lopsided for about a year, though. So.
Why is that not working? It's very annoying. There we go. So yeah, my first one has to do with the big deal between 11 Arts and Right Stuff and what have you, that apparently either there was a miscommunication or something. I don't know exactly. But what I do know is that the Under the Clouds Gaiden, I think it is. Let's see. The what do they call it? Laughing Under the Clouds or no, there's several of them. Laughing Under the Clouds Gaiden 3-film collection. There we go. Is going to be released via Shout Factory, apparently. I have heard that these are good films. They are supposedly excellent films. They were announced as part of a deal that would also include the 2-part Hikaru-san Here Comes Miss Modern, which I still want to see those movies. But I just found that very interesting that they're still rolling forward, but there has been a change of plans apparently. But if you did catch the films, you can look forward to them coming out on home video. Yeah.
Something fun that's being released by one of our favorite releasers, I believe it's Discotech, I think, is releasing the entire Bubble series in their method on Blu-ray. Which
that was one of the ones I was looking at.
76 episodes, that's pretty darn cool. And I am looking forward to that. I love Bobobo. I'm just kind of hoping that but I'm not sure it's enough to get rid of my 2 sets, because they eventually will be rare. And it was a series that kind of sunk S'more Entertainment's foray in anime. And I don't know. The only thing that would make me really want to get it is I want to see how the subtrack is, to see if they actually did some good subtitling instead of just doing the hard of hearing translation of the English version that they have right now. So that'll be on my list. Love the series.
The remake of Kino's Journey, The Beautiful World, is getting an Essentials release.
That's good.
Isn't that something?
It'll be worth. I finally get it.
And the Sunshine movie, Over the Rainbow, is coming out. That's one that I'll need to see.
That's the what was it?
Love Live.
Yeah,
Sunshine.
well, that's going to be on my list.
Yep.
Grave of the Fireflies is getting a steelbook release.
Yeah, well, a lot of them are. Sentai's going all out with those steelbooks.
I know you're going to be conflicted.
Yeah, a little bit. God damn it.
You just have the DVD, don't you, right now?
For which one?
Grave of the Fireflies.
I have the old school, I think it's Central
It's the
Park
one that
Media.
I have, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an old school release. I would love to get a steelbook Blu-ray Grave of the Fireflies. I would love to do that, but
It'll go on sale eventually.
yeah.
If it's
Speaking
Sentai, yeah.
of it'll go on sale eventually, this was the freaking goddamn Aniplex.
Oh.
I've already pretty much given up on getting most of Sword Art Online. I have Season 1 and I'm thrilled. But to get most of it, I'd have to pay more than that series is worth. Aniplex has posted Sword Art Online Alicization, which I think came out a year ago, with the $250 sticker price. Whew. But this is one that pisses me off. God damn Aniplex. I have not gotten to see this show. I'm specifically holding off. My library actually got, I guess it's a bootleg copy.
Must be, yeah.
It must be, because this has not been released here. But I am specifically holding off the viewing until I finish the manga. And we finally got the manga. I'm just waiting for all the pieces to come to me. And I'm speaking, of course, of I think it's Yakusoku no Neverland or something like that. The Promised Neverland. Goddamn Aniplex. They're releasing it. It's going to be 1:30. I really wanted that show. I did not want Aniplex to get it. But I will say this. The first 4 volumes of the manga are freaking awesome. If it maintains that through the end, I think it is a show. I really want to see the show. And if the show is as good as the manga, it will be worth getting. It's just, it's so expensive.
So, my last is that they are finally completing the second season of Lupin the Third here.
Yeah.
Which the fourth set is being released, I think, in January. So
Nice.
I am glad to finally get that. It's going to be the first time. Part 3 and 4 never got released here. Originally, Part 1 and 2, which do have the still dubs intact, were released in separate forms, and they're really hard to get all those little pieces of that. So I'm kind of glad. It's a really long season. It's the longest of all of the seasons, I think, because it's the only one that's over 100 episodes. So now all I need to do is get 3 and 5, and we'll be caught up to the TV series here in the United States.
Wouldn't that be nice?
It's interesting that we've got 4 out already, and we haven't finished releasing 2, and we haven't even seen 3, so...
Oh, and then we have the Space Brothers movie number 0 is coming out. That's going to be... I think we mentioned that, though.
Yeah, it's going to be... January itself is going to be a very heavy month.
And the other discotheque one that I'm excited about, Blu-ray release of Bludgeoning Angel Dokuro-chan. Oh, that's such a classic.
Yeah, they should do a Dokuro-chan, Puny-chan double feature set.
Maria the Virgin Witch is getting a re-release. Nice. Okay.
Well, we'll move on.
Yeah.
So, entertainment news. I've got 2 stories. Did you find a story you wanted to talk about?
I think the release stuff ended up being the only stuff I really found.
Well, Bill Murray is definitely returning to Ghostbusters.
Oh.
I know we've talked about it before, and you're like, I don't know. He's usually not likely to. He's been against it. And we've been back and forth about it, but this time Dan Aykroyd has confirmed it, that yes, he is reprising his role, yes, he is going to be in the movie. Now all we need is Rick Moranis and one of them to come back from the dead, and we'll have the whole set.
Well, I wouldn't hold my breath on either of those, unfortunately. But
one's about as likely as the other, but I would love to see Rick Moranis do that.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that he did reprise his role as Dark Helmet for that episode of the
right.
God, what was that thing? The
Goldbergs.
Goldbergs, yeah, which is really cool to watch.
I need to see that.
It's got my hopes that maybe he'll at least do a cameo.
All right.
But we'll see. I am getting more and more psyched about it. There's that part of me that says I should hate the film. Because, I mean, a lot of people who are supporting the 2016 reboot say I should hate the film. But I don't know. I want to see it. I'm curious. I am legit curious about this. I mean, they've got a very solid writing and directing crew. They're bringing back a lot of practical effects. I don't know. It could be a clusterfuck, but I just want to see it.
Right. It could be a train wreck, but then whatever.
We also did the run of Death Stranding. We talked about that on the pickups the other week. And Kojima had an interesting interview, which came across as kind of condescending to American audiences, saying, well, they're not rating it perfect because, those Americans, they only like first-person shooters and stuff like that. But there's several different ways of translating it, so it's hard to say if that's really what he said. I'm not I'm not a Kojima fanboy, though I really wanted to see what Silent Hills would look like, and I find Metal Gear to be okay. I am curious as to what he does on his next project, and I am willing to give Death Stranding a try. As a neutral party, I really do want to check it out and give it a fair shot.
I do have to ask you about this one.
Well, okay, so it's been a while. But
No, I could swear we actually covered it when it happened, too.
Well, we'll cover it again just in case. Because I don't recall whether we covered it or not, because we weren't doing the deaths then, were we? Oh, yeah, it's been 2018, so it's been a while. So I guess we don't have any deaths to cover. That's the thing with Facebook. You see something and you just... There's a fake one.
It may have been about the anniversary.
Now, there is a fake one going around. Betty White died, but
it's been going around.
That's been going around for a while. And one way of looking at it and disproving it right away is it says she died at 93. She's 97, so she's been a zombie for like 4 years.
Oh, actually, that does remind me though. This is not really news, but sort of like a entertainment sort of little something. We got to talking this week at the library about the particular demographics that seem, for whatever reason, to, we know some of the reasons, and it's horrifying when you think about it, but the particular demographics that seem to be most interested in the 50 Shades of Grey series. And I had this notion.
10-year-olds.
Yes, obviously. I had this little notion, little thought, so you could consider this maybe an open letter. Any of our viewers have any connection with Saturday Night Live or anything like that? I was thinking they could do a sketch, a book club, little old ladies reading 50 Shades. And of course you gotta have Betty White in that one. But when I started thinking who would be the best people for that cast, almost all of them were British. Yeah, I was thinking people like Maggie Smith and Judi Dench and all that. And that would just make it even funnier if Betty White somehow shows up in the bunch.
Yes, that would be interesting.
That would be great. So someone make this happen.
So, at the movies, they remain happy over there, I guess, because I didn't go. And neither did you.
No, I didn't.
So, that's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
Maybe I'll see Star Wars. I want to see Star Wars, but...
That's the kind of thing you
maybe.
should see on the big screen.
I should,
But not like George Lucas or the mouse need any more money.
You know. It's too much.
Yes.
I mean, Disney Plus did drop over the week.
Yeah, apparently they dropped hard.
I have a set now with it, and it's got some cool stuff on it.
What was it I saw? Oh yeah. Now you talking about that? This may have been clickbait or something. I don't know, but I saw something like they were saying that they were putting out censored versions of Gravity Falls. I'm like, that's a freaking Disney program.
It aired on Disney. I don't get that.
No, if you're doing Gravity Falls on Disney Plus and it's all abridged, shame on you, Disney.
But they did edit this. They did edit again the Greedo scene from Star Wars, so that he would definitely shot first instead of Han. And he says something like McClunky or something before he fires, which is kind of, which we don't know what that means.
Yeah,
weird stuff. But it's got some interesting things. Apparently, the only way you will be able to understand the Marvel movies going forward is through a Disney Plus subscription, because a lot of the story in between is going to be told through those series that they're running. And you know, Runaways is ending after season 3. Yeah. So
that was one I started watching and I never finished. I really want to.
So eventually, all Marvel series are going to run through Disney Plus. They do have the 90s Spider-Man series, which I'm going to have to look at. Alright, so first impressions.
Okay.
I don't have much that I started, but did you have anything that you started?
Started but not finished? I don't believe so, actually.
Alright. I have one thing. It's a video game called Reverie, which is a pretty cool game. It's like a Zelda type, done with the graphics of Earthbound. And I did it because it was just something while just waiting up for my wife to get to bed. We have the PlayStation 4 up there, and I'm just doing it so I don't fall asleep in the bed, because that bed is comfortable and I just zonk out, especially with work days being what they are. When I lay down, my mind goes, yep, time to go to sleep. So it's probably the easiest thing for me to do. It's fun so far. I've been enjoying it.
Cool.
So, Inside Movies Galore and other programming that we're watching stuff for. Not much this time around. We're going to be, by the way, next Tuesday before the show, Inside Movies Galore is going to do a Thanksgiving 3 discussion. You wanting to get in on that?
I might want to. I might regret it, but we'll know.
Well, if you want to, yeah, I'm going to probably try and watch it over the weekend if you want to borrow my copy and check that out. Because we've got that and then we have Terminator coming up.
Yep.
But we had Clerks last week.
Yep.
And I watched Clerks 2 at my final bit of preparation. I hadn't gotten enough of that by the time we filmed. But I did watch that on Tuesday. And I'll admit, somebody was posting online that Clerks was his favorite Clerks 2 was his favorite Kevin Smith movie, and I'm just like, why? It was a decent film, and very decent comparatively with the time it was released, but I don't know, just didn't quite have the same feel as the first.
No, not quite. It was hard to recapture that too. They actually made reference to that in the animated series. They were the final episode, which was kind of interesting. And incidentally, I did watch the animated series. I got 2 episodes in prior to our discussion, and I finished it. All of 6 episodes. I did not get around to Clerks 2 yet, but it's still sitting there, and I'm still thinking I'd like to. If I get time for it. But I did watch Clerks in preparation. And of course, we've got the preparation for this week, which thus far I have watched Tremors and Tremors 2 Aftershocks.
Same here.
Yes.
So we'll save Tremors for the discussion. You need to go back and watch it. But what did you think of Tremors 2? Did you, this is when they first started doing the evolution of the graboids.
Yeah, it was interesting. Hey, Carp.
That's not Carpy, that's Anderson. But yeah, he's moving too quickly.
Yeah. It was interesting. It was,
I love the series. It's a fun series. I really enjoy going back to it. I'm going to be watching quite a few of them.
Well, I will say this, not to give too much away from our main discussion, but one of the things I really enjoyed, I thought it was one of Kevin Bacon's enjoyable roles.
Yeah.
And his presence is missed in the second film.
It is.
But I did watch, I have not watched all of the bonus features to prepare yet, but I've watched a good number of them.
They got some cool special effects stuff they did.
They mentioned something in there that I had not made the connection in the first movie, and I couldn't not see it in the second movie. And that is, of course, that Michael Gross, who plays the survivalist nut, is the father from Family Ties. And I'm like, that's fun.
Yeah, it's actually also interesting when you do the 2 because the tone changes.
Oh yeah, well,
I mean, it kind of picks up that
goofier,
that tone.
definitely.
It's it goes from more of a kind of an action horror to more of a horror comedy as you move to the second one.
There's plenty of comedy in the first one.
There is, but not quite like it is in the second one. The second one is practically a comedy, and trust me, it just gets more ridiculous from there. I still got 3 and 4 in the TV series, and then 5 and 6 to get through. All right.
I just think, I don't think we planned this, but it's interesting that everyone we're doing this month has a TV series,
Yes.
or more than one.
Oh yeah, I gotta think of it. Yeah, so does Terminator.
Yeah.
And well, not Thanksgiving though.
No,
that's because it's not in the main thing. We didn't have the main theme going.
Well, there you go. You just gotta talk to the right people. Get Thanksgiving made for Disney Plus. There you go. It fit right in.
So I can see that there. The turkey is it's a cartoon turkey, and he's joins
Voiced by Gilbert Gottfried.
He joins the Avengers. So I guess we'll get into our mini review portion. Wow, we're making good time. Okay, well, maybe I'll be able to knock out all these mini reviews.
Maybe. I don't have very many listed.
Well, I can start us then.
Okay.
Because you know what I'm going to start with.
Sorry.
If you haven't seen the pickups, you should.
Yes.
I got a very nice lot on Monogatari for a very good price. I've had that lot for actually over a month now, and it's just been a long watch because it's like 70-some episodes and 3 movies. And the feel of it is, and I was looking up some of the pedigree, and some of the people working on it also worked on Zetsubo Sensei and Maria Holick, and you can tell. Artistically, you can tell. And the tone of the series is somewhere in between the two.
Is it a Shaft production?
I am not sure, but...
Because I know Maria Holick was.
But much like both of those series, you can feel the driving pace. Your eyes are... You have to have your full attention to it, or you're going to miss something. It's constant words just up on the screen, especially the first season, where they will flash like exposition like really quickly, and then they just constantly boom, 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 very wordy.
So I heard.
So you have to be constantly just reading, and hopefully get to see some of the visuals as you go by. It's also very dark in a lot of places. It's one of those that I would say is worth watching, but like any Aniplex title, if you gotta watch it, stream it, don't buy it. I would not recommend it unless you get it for a good price. Don't buy it for the prices that they're selling these at. It's way too expensive for this. But it is a good series.
Anderson?
I'm just glad that Zetsubo Sensei is not being released by Aniplex.
Damn it, you just jinxed it.
Well, they've already been declared by somebody. I can't remember who, but
Recently?
yeah, there was a studio that licensed it, but I can't think of who it was.
Well, Media Blasters licensed it.
No, it was
never did.
It was a different one. But I remember we even talked about it. But I
Oh, yes.
it was exciting news. But it wasn't Aniplex. I remember that.
Is it Discotheque?
Maybe it was. It'd be great if it was Discotheque, because I could see them releasing all of it in one.
Yeah.
So, if you like those two series, definitely I would check it out. The artistic style, very strange. You know how they have in those styles where they really don't... The backgrounds are very roomy and just strange looking. It's something. There are a few things that bother me about it, though. I can't get to like any of the characters. It's like there's just... that you want to like them at points, but they also make them just that little bit unlikable. Like, like the main character tends to sexually harass really young children, which doesn't appeal to me very much, or at least one particularly young child. And he's also kind of a pervert, well, as you can tell. The main girl he's in love with is a tsundere slash yandere character, and a lot of the other characters, there's always something off about them to where they're not quite lovable. They're slightly likable, but you can't really like them. So it's kind of a series that leaves you feeling uncomfortable, but at the same time leaves you going, I really think this is well written and well done. All right. And I would definitely watch it if you get the chance.
Good times. So, speaking of stuff that has an Aniplex connection, this one, I don't know if there is an anime in the works or will ever be. I don't know. It's a spin-off of a popular anime that actually probably has some of the same pedigree involved, Monogatari. Aniplex did release Puella Magi Madoka Magica, which was a very good series, very dark and twisted and messed up and fun. And I've been reading a lot of the manga. I read the direct adaptation, but I've also read a different story and some of the side spin-offs and offshoots. My library did something really weird. They ordered 4 volumes of a 5-volume series They actually ordered all 5, but Volume 2 for some reason was not sent. There was something happened with it. And for some reason they never got around to getting Volume 2 until last year. Or, no, actually earlier this year. So I finally made a point a few days ago to read the series Puella Magi Kazumi Magica, The Innocent Malice. I had actually read that first volume before I realized there was no way in hell I'd be reading Volume 2. So I reread Volume 1 and then I read it again. And what's interesting about this, of course, if you watch this channel, you know a little bit about the Puella series. Basically, it's a magical girl series where you have this incubator named QB, who is an evil, twisted little shit.
He's a cute little evil thing.
He is a cute little evil thing. But in Kazumi Magica, you've got this girl wakes up in a trunk, naked, amnesiac, has no idea what's going on, and neither does the person who opened the trunk, who thought there was a bomb inside.
Oh.
And apparently these trunks had gotten switched.
Girl bomb.
Yeah, well, no, they had gotten switched. And he, of course, runs a restaurant, and she is very grateful to him for having, helping her out, whatever. And come to find out that she is a 5-star chef, pretty much. But she doesn't remember. It's like muscle memory. Mm-hmm. Eventually, she, of course, wanders into a witch's ward or something. And the 2 magical girls show up and save her. And then they introduce her to their friends, and they are a group of magical girls who call themselves the Pleiades, after the stars and the Roman mythology. Is it Greek or Roman mythology with the Pleiades? I think it's Roman. They're a group of magical girls who don't really follow the rules, or they don't want to. And I'm not going to say anything more than that, because there are some very unusual and interesting twists in this series. It's a short series, 5 volumes. All the Puella volumes are small, quick reads. You can read them in 45 minutes, even if you're kind of a slow reader. And most of them are very short. The 5-volume ones are some of the longer ones. Worth checking out if you liked the anime, and even if you didn't, and you like a dark, twisted series, might be worth looking at.
I need to read some of that manga.
Yeah.
It's just time.
Yeah.
Speaking of time, I watched this last night.
Mm-hmm.
And it might be one reason for you to get the 7-day free trial of Disney Plus. I watched Marvel Rising Secret Warriors, which is one of 2 feature-length specials that stars a number of heroes, including Miss Marvel, Squirrel Girl.
Oh.
I can't think of the other one. She is a space character with Superman-like powers. Let's see, Marvel Rising Secret Warriors. But it is a cute little one. I know that you've been really hoping for a Miss Marvel type thing to be released, and they did. It's animated. It's not terribly animated. So it is possible that we might actually get an introduction to the actual movies. I don't know if this falls into the timeline, though. I mean, it was done in 2018, though, so it's very possible.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see here. You see Dante, Kamala Khan, Patriot, Dorian Green, Daisy Johnson, Betty Brant.
Oh, wait, let me see.
So, yeah. And there's 2 of these. The other one's Initiation, and I haven't gotten to that one yet. But I plan to eventually. It's kind of fun and lighthearted. It's interesting to see Squirrel Girl in there.
Did you say you saw Betty Brant in there?
Well, that's in the Initiation one.
Oh,
Um,
I'm looking at the other one, yeah.
But
Okay.
still pretty cool. It's very much a one that might upset some people because it very much concentrates on people of color, different religions, LGBTQ stuff. One of the characters has two mothers in it, and again, very progressive type of
Right.
show, but worth watching. It's very entertaining.
Yeah. Well, I mean, of course, with that particular cast, you got some cool characters.
Oh yeah, you're looking at the cast for the original, right?
Oh.
Do you know who plays the
Tara
Captain
Strong,
Marvel?
Mary Jane? Well, that's what I was saying. Kind of all some of these are recast. Wait, they're calling her Ghost Spider. Is that supposed to be Spider Woman, and they just renamed her, or is that
Who knows?
that? Well, you watched it. Yeah,
haven't seen
that's Spider Woman's outfit. Why would they rename her? That's stupid. Well, anyway. So yeah, they've got together. Now I'm disappointed that Captain Marvel is apparently voiced by Kim Raver. But yeah, they had
Hey, you'd think that what is her name? That's
Brie Larson, and also Betty Brant is Anjali Rice, but that was I'm sure with everything going on with Sony, I'm not surprised that was redone. But
actually
that's annoying.
I am surprised that they didn't get Brie Larson for that because she's a spokesman for a lot of this, and with as progressive as this is, you'd think that she would be really on board for that. She probably asked for too much money.
Could be. But yeah, some of these characters though, Kamala Khan, Gwen Stacy, Spider Woman, Doreen Green,
She's
aka
not
Squirrel.
she's
They
not
are
in
good.
much of it.
But they are the most awesomest characters.
Yeah, I mean the ones that they show the most of
And
is
Tippy Toe is awesome.
they show mainly it's Squirrel Girl and Kamala Khan.
Well, they're the best ones, so yeah, that works.
All right.
All right.
What's your next one?
Okay, well, let's get back to that screen then. Well, I'll go ahead and talk. I probably won't go into as much depth as I could because of our upcoming video, but with NIS America. But I did finally finish watching Kimi ni Todoke from Me to You.
Good series.
It is a good series. It's a little bit frustrating at times.
Did you feel the same way I did at the end of the first season where they were, and then the transition to the second season where they kind of stepped back a bit?
You kind of made me feel like it was an arbitrary loss, and I feel like they made it work in the story, but it was frustrating.
So that was my main feeling from it.
So essentially, this is a series about you've got a young lady named Sawako who is known as Sadako because of an unfortunate resemblance to a certain character from a certain horror series. And it's made all the more so by the fact that since she is a social outcast, she is very socially awkward, doesn't really understand all the niceties of, I guess, body language and whatnot. And she often just creeps people out by her mere presence. She has grown used to this, and at the start of the series, I don't remember the exact situation, but she finds herself finally making friends with two young ladies, Yano and Chizuru. Yano is the gal type, the overly made-up one who likes older guys, and so a lot of people kind of make fun of her for that. And Chizuru is this big, ungainly girl who people think she's like a delinquent because, well, she acts like a guy and she's huge, and so they just thinks she's this delinquent. And she is best childhood buds with a guy named Ryu, who's super quiet. And Ryu is best buds with this guy named Kazuhaya, who is pretty much everyone's dream guy, real nice and charming and looks good. And Sawako falls head over heels for him, but has no idea, because she's such a social idiot. She has no idea what the feelings even are. Yeah. And so you see 2 seasons, one of them a very long season, where they slowly come together. It is very much a shoujo romance. There's a lot of humor in there. There's a lot of actual emotion, deep emotion at times. It does. I am not one that really likes to see something that should take 2 episodes, take most of a season. The episode called Confession does take... the confession itself is like several minutes of painful awkwardness, but it is a good series, and it does have a sort of an honest feel to it. I do feel for the girl, I really do. I mean, it hit a little close to home at times. And it's... most of the characters are pretty likable. I mean, there's a couple that I could do kind of without. Pin and the guy that everyone calls that D-bag. That's pretty much his name in the series. Joe was so stupid that it was too dumb for words. But I really liked Yano. She was actually a really cool character, and she grew on me with time. And I liked the main girl. She was really cool, just a little frustrating. Yeah. And of course, she's voiced by Mamiko Noto, who has kind of made a career out of playing these whispery, high-voiced, quiet characters. And, well, that was how she played it. Yeah. But, and it had some good music. Very, very shoujo art style. Very distinctive looking series. Yeah. It
almost reminded me a little bit of Honey and Clover.
A little bit, yeah.
Style. A little bit. It's not a ton, but it almost had the faces. There was something about the faces.
It's like Honey and Clover and Chihai Furu and Nana and some of those. It's in that basic vein visually, yeah.
Well written, slightly frustrating. Would you recommend it?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I'm going to take a couple of these and put them together. I beat 2 video games. One of them is Dragon Quest II. And the reason why I'm putting these together really quick is that I did a review for that on my video game diaries. So you should go check that out, because I'm not going to talk more about that at the moment. It was because I've been talking about my progress through Dragon Quest III, for goodness sakes. That's, But I did beat GTA 5, which... apparently not many people do. Apparently most people tend to play it for a while and then just go into the online and stay there. I hate the online, so I really enjoyed the story. It's a fun game to run around and you can get lost in, and blowing things up, killing people, driving on the wrong side of the road, all the things.
Drifting into a gas pump and blowing up.
But it's a pretty cool and intense story. It's fun to play the whole way through. I never really got bored with it. And just in general, there's a lot to do. There's still a lot more I could do if I wanted to just tool around in the game. I just don't feel like it at this moment. I feel like I've done what I've come to do at the game. And I understand why it's still tops the charts as one of the best games out there. It is just excellent. So if you haven't played GTA 5, and if you do like a bunch of 10-year-olds talking about how they've done this and that with your mother, you too will love the series. So if you haven't, definitely get it.
Okay. So, The next one is a film that I picked up from the library because it looked interesting, and I kind of sat around for a while and finally watched it. I actually got one of my brothers to watch it with me, and it was kind of interesting. It's a film, a documentary called Comic Book Independence, The Creative Power of Graphic Novels, where they interview a whole bunch of people who are involved in basically the underground comic scene and various left of the middle. Like you have the guy who's like the creator of Savage Dragon on there, but the woman who is I believe co-creator or creator of ElfQuest. Then you had some of the really obscure stuff in there too.
Milk and cheese.
Yeah, probably. It was an interesting video. Ultimately, I thought I got a lot out of it. It was interesting to see. I felt like they could have used a little bit longer in the editing room, and a lot of the the what is creativity and that sort of stuff. They could have probably pared down or done without some of those segments. The actual interviews were very interesting, and they did some good. They did kind of focus on some of the grotesque and left of mainstream stuff, which, given my brother's...
like the R. Crumb.
Well, Crumb was mentioned repeatedly, and some of his stuff was shown.
Well, he was one of the big founders of the
Well, yeah, exactly. This was more like kind of like the 80s and into the, a little bit later for the most part. But
stuff we're more familiar with.
Right. And interestingly enough, it was filmed in 2007. And which, of course, 2008 was the year they gave us Dark Knight, Iron Man, and the Incredible Hulk. And I'm like, I wonder if this film would have been the same if it had come out. Because, and that was interesting, they were very dismissive of some of those marquee names for the most part. Well, but it was very interesting to see. I do feel like there is a vibrant underground even now. Like Savage Dragon, of course, is Image, and I've been. If you watch this, you know that I have been following Monstrous. I read Invincible. I thought both of those were really excellent series. Invincible was basically Image creators getting together and just thumbing their noses at Marvel and DC. That's pretty much it. I mean, the part where Eve gets older than dirt, her husband and son still look alive and young, and then she dies and then comes back as the young, and she's like, oh, I guess I am immortal. I was like, okay, you just took the whole thing. All along I've been thinking she is obviously Phoenix. And they got really explicit with it. The fact that her husband, Mark, is a colossal dick just makes it all the more obvious he's Cyclops. But it's cool. I like left of mainstream stuff, and I thought it was an interesting video. Like I said, it wasn't good enough to be something I would highly recommend. But if you're into the creative arts, especially if you're interested in the...
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. And again, especially since we just did all that stuff with Clerks, and what a shoestring that was done on. And incidentally, I remember something that I failed to mention. We all failed to mention in that video.
Yeah.
We did not mention Slacker once. And Slacker was the template that Kevin Smith used to make that film.
Which is funny, because I did not like Slacker.
No, well, I need to see it. But yeah, Richard Linklater made a film for about $30,000.
It's the only Criterion film I have actually sold off.
Yes, I need to watch it. Go ahead.
I could have sold it to you.
You did.
I did. Oh, never mind. There you go. So, Downton Abbey. In preparation for the film, you can tell how long we've been holding these back.
Yes.
I watched all of the Downton Abbey series. Which, I got farther in the series than I had thought I did, because I had thought I had stopped watching around season 3. I had actually made it to the... but I'd actually instead been watching it regularly up until the last season, and then just got bored of it and quit.
Oh, okay.
My momentum ran out. This time, I was able to do it much better. And I think because I kept my momentum up, I didn't feel the drag as much. The series is an excellent series.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, Downton Abbey is about this family that live in one of these great manors in England during the time where the manors were reaching their decline. They had already reached their peak and they were starting to decline, starting around the time of the Titanic disaster. And it talks about the relationships of the upstairs and the downstairs, meaning, the masters and the servants. And the series is exceptional for the first 2 seasons. I mean, I would recommend anybody watch those first 2 seasons. It's just excellent.
Right.
After that, it starts to jump the shark a little bit, and some of the main characters get killed, and I'm not going to tell you which ones. It's still good. It's still well written. It's very well acted, but I feel like it lost its soul at the end of season 2. And still, I really enjoyed it all the way through. I would definitely recommend it. It is not to be looked at as something based on fact, because there's no way that the family above and the families below would be that close as they are in the series to real life. But still, it is good. I really love it as a period kind of piece, and the movie is right along there with the rest.
Yeah, I rewatched season 6 in preparation for the movie, so you really can't say that I ran out of steam because I was only watching 1 season. But
I watched all of it in one go.
I've already seen. Well, I kind of did that before. The only other thing I have on my list, I probably have some more stuff. For a while there, I wasn't really taking ready notes, and I really should have been, but yeah, whatever. The last one I have to talk about this week is a book. A book. It's a novel. A novel by Joanne Ramos. It's actually her first novel. I think, if I remember correctly, she was a journalist. Need to double check on that. But Joanne Ramos wrote a book called The Farm. And I was intrigued by this. It looked like it had an interesting concept, and I try every now and then to kind of pick a random-ish new one to read. Unfortunately, I rarely have the time to really read like I should, but I am trying to get back into that mode. This particular book, fortunately, was a very quick and easy read. Basically, the gist of it is... it follows most closely a Filipino-American immigrant named Jane Reyes. And but it also, the other main characters are Mayu, who's a half Chinese business entrepreneur, and Regan, who's a college-educated girl who's unfortunately very driftless, aimless. She wants to help people. She likes photography, that sort of thing. And what brings them all, and the key supporting characters, you got Lisa, who is the worldly, cynical girl who gives the book its name, and I'll get to that in a minute. And Evelyn, who Jane calls Ate, who I think that's Tagalog for auntie or big sister or something like that, who is the one who gets Jane this gig. Basically, it's you can't really call it a dystopian or even a science fiction, because even though technically it kind of falls into that category, it could take place today with only just a couple little tweaks to our current what have you. May is the proprietor, if you will, the operating manager of a little resort retreat in upstate New York called Golden Oaks. And she is part of a much larger conglomerate, and this was like her brainchild, her way of climbing the corporate ladder, as it were. And what Golden Oaks is it is essentially a place where the 1% can, it's basically a surrogacy farm, a baby farm, if you will. And the 1% go to choose their, they'll choose a host, and, whether they're involved or not, the process, it's up to them. Everything's up to the client. That's how it is. The customer's always right. And in this one, Jane had messed up. She has a young daughter, and in a desperate attempt to provide for her daughter, she stands in for Evelyn as a baby nanny for this very, very, very rich couple. When Evelyn falls ill, she messes up, because she does kind of dumb stuff every now and then. And Evelyn is like, well, you should go to this place. And she doesn't realize Evelyn gets finder's fee for this. So she goes and agrees to be a surrogate. She meets Regan, who is actively recruited as a so-called premium host. They definitely get into race relations in this one. The college-educated white girl obviously commands a premium. And Lisa's the one who's been there on her third time, and she calls it the farm because she's cynical and disillusioned, but she's making a ton of money there, so she keeps doing it. And basically the novel is an opportunity to look at race relations, financial, like class inequality, exploitation of the poor, at the benefit of the rich, all that kind of stuff. It was very interesting. It was a very interesting concept. It was well written for the most part, and it was an easy read. But it was not extraordinarily literary. I kind of place it kind of between John Grisham and Stephen King on the scale of, because King uses a lot of college words, and he likes, he gets dense. And Grisham, you can read his books in 2 days and not miss a thing. He's a great writer for the most part, but he writes to be read quickly. This one falls in between. And it didn't go as far as I hoped, either as a satire or as a... it didn't bite as hard as it could have, I guess you could say. But it was an interesting book. It was a quick read, and I'm happy I took a chance on it, I guess.
Sounds like an interesting read.
Yep.
I'm going to end this with one that I realize is on the NIS, so it's the last one, called If Her Flag Breaks. That was the one that ended my NIS viewing. I've actually watched all of the NIS anime releases.
Good for you.
So If Her Flag Breaks is a kind of harem-ish series about this guy who can see flags. And for those of you who play dating sims, flags are these opportunities that they have to make a gain or a fail with somebody. So he has the special ability to break each of these flags, or even break death flags that will allow him to keep them alive when they might have died. And he ends up going to this school with a bunch of these girls that he ends up activating the love flag for every single one of them.
He gets that from a near-death experience, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah.
He is the lone survivor of a Titanic-like disaster. Kind of an attachment right here to Downton Abbey. He is the lone survivor of this, and he walks away with this power. He starts off as a very secluded, isolated person, and eventually starts to become more upbeat. It's a very good series. there was a previous one I had watched not too long ago from that, and gosh, it's been so long. I can't remember the name of it, but it reminded me, they were both kind of two edges of the same coin. One I felt was very good writing, but was missing stuff. And then the other one, gosh, what was it? It was the one about it's the one about the psychic girl.
The Troubled Life of Miss Kotra.
That one I felt was missing things. Whereas this one I felt did a good job of wrapping it up, but didn't quite hold the story as well. It was still a fun series. You can still pick it up okay price-wise, I think. It's one of their later releases, so I think it's still in print.
I think it is one of their cheaper ones generally.
So it's worth picking up if you can. Any NIS you see, I would pick it up, especially if you get it at a fair price, because if it's not out of print now, it will be out of print in the near future. So, it's a worthy one to have in a collection. It's a decent harem that doesn't go too far over the top. Speaking of going over the top, we're a little bit over our time, so we will wrap up today's show. I hope you've enjoyed our vlogcast as we see you on the next episode in December.
Ooh.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye.